All right, everybody, it is 2 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the February Customer Success webinar for OnBoard. We are really excited to talk about remote meeting learnings from the past 10 months and share some client insights. I know there are a lot of clients on the line that gave some of those insights, so we're really excited that you could join us as well. I'm Jillian Walker, a Customer Success Manager with the OnBoard team, and my co-host today is Tracie Mohammed.
Hey, everybody.
And we are also joined by Customer Success Managers Amy Roth, Brian Martin, as well as Implementation Manager Jenny Washington. And they're going to be moderating today's chat and Q&A. So we're so grateful to have them on the call with us as well. So let's get started. After a little housekeeping, we're going to talk about remote meeting fatigue, right? And how to combat it. We're going to touch on how board dynamics may have changed since going remote, as well as how to leverage the portal that you have to keep your boards and teams connected. And then we'll have some time for all of those burning questions. So, housekeeping. All attendee mics are muted. If you have any questions throughout or any issues at all, please use the Q&A or chat functions, or feel free to raise your hand, and a member of our team will reach out directly. So let's kick all of this off. So let's start with a poll question, right? Do you require your attendees to use their camera during virtual meetings? Brian, will you help me out with that? Awesome. Oh, I love seeing things come in.
We should steal some like game show music for this portion.
We really should.
Wait, should we do the Jeopardy music with the dun dun dun?
Maybe.
Dun?
Well, except that's owned by Disney now, and I think they would sue us.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have sung it, huh?
So let's look at this. So you guys are really flexible. So no, they are optional. That's really fantastic. So that kind of tees up some best practices and some learnings that we've had. So Beth from Christa Family Ministries teased this up perfectly with her comment, right? Even remotely, some groups are meeting even more frequently. And whether it's work, family, entertainment, right? Remote connection fatigue is real. So let's do a little bit of refresher on some remote meeting tips and tricks. So let's start with etiquette, right? Cameras on, be engaged. Really eliminate some of that multitasking while on the meeting. Next time you're on a video call, close those tabs or programs that might distract you. Put your phone away. Stay present. I know it's really tempting, even when I see that Teams or Slack flashing on my computer, but just give yourself 15 minutes, you can respond, right? And I did say cameras on, but in many cases, and some of yours show, that companies are understanding that cameras are optional. And some even say that with concentration, it's hard to stare at your own face. So maybe hide yourself from view if you have to be on. And then start the meeting well. As the meeting leader, your mood matters, right? Set that tone. Research suggests that you have a contagious effect on the attendees, and their mood is going to mirror yours. So start your meetings with energy, appreciation, with gratitude. And doing so increases the chances of a more positive meeting, right? Which promotes more creativity and more constructiveness. So, and then body language, show up fully. Video chats mean that we need to work harder to process nonverbal cues like facial expressions, tone and pitch of the voice. And paying attention to those consumes a lot of energy. This is something that I've really been working on lately, is trying to smile more, lean in more, right? Nod more, just so someone on the other end can feel what I'm trying to give out to them, right? And then sharpen that agenda. You need to create focus in these remote meetings. So try to organize the agenda, I don't know, maybe as a set of questions to be answered rather than a set of topics to be discussed. And with that, active facilitating is key. Drawing in the audience keeps them engaged in your meeting. So meeting leaders, you really have to embrace the role of facilitator, right? Maybe, for example, you give virtual attendees, you say, Tracie, can you please share your thoughts, right? Keeping them engaged, and maybe even consider keeping track of all the voices that you've heard from. And avoid generic questions like, any comments? right? Depending on the size of your board, maybe you can think, have you called on everyone to participate? And lastly, don't let people ramble. It is hard to politely interrupt, but it's necessary. So it's your job as that meeting leader to facilitate and keep everyone on track. So let's talk about prioritizing that flexibility and adaptability. If you are able, and not all orgs are big enough, but if you can, right, get multiple people on deck for support, running slides, identifying people who can help with the flow of meeting, so you have no interruptions. Don't go it alone. We're doing this right now. We have a whole team of people helping out. So not one person, myself or Tracie, is fatigued with this meeting. So we're really being a team. And then shorter meetings include breaks. Agendas in this way can be more flexible. When communication is more frequent, then communication can flow in a more informal way. Also, spread out those sessions, right? Virtual meetings allow you to break into shorter sessions over longer periods of time, right? Distribute the agenda across a series of meetings. Some directors can pose strategy questions in the first half of the meeting, and then give time in between, maybe stretch, stay hydrated. And then the second session can reflect and gather information for the conversation to move forward. A couple of my favorite things that I've come to learn recently, even from another CSM, is there's organizations having water cooler moments. I know a lot of us miss personal interaction. And so they're setting a tone, they're setting a culture of connection, time for socialization, even while we're apart. And so they know, and their staff knows, and their board knows that they're going to open a meeting 10 to 15 minutes early. And it's optional, but they have an opportunity where people can come in, join in, talk about the weather. We have a foot of snow, catch up on the family. And then they know that they can keep their meetings running on time, giving that extra moment just to let people connect so we can stay on track. And then my favorite are current social events. Beth gave a really great quote about sending refreshments and meals to board members a day in advance. We do that here at Passageways for our team, our leadership teams as well, right? Keeping topics and social discussions and connection during breaks. It's a great idea. You can send gift cards, right? Grubhub lunches, chocolate and wine tasting kits. I recently participated in building a charcuterie board as a team building event. It was delicious. And then lastly, be a champion. This sort of thing is top down, and especially when people right now are really burnt out on being on camera nonstop. So you need to create a culture of connection that will take that intention. And from that, I know I talked a lot, but I'm excited to pass it on to Tracie, who's going to share some board dynamics.
Thanks, Jillian. I appreciate it. And you never talk too much. So I will be discussing some board dynamics that has occurred over the last 10 to 12 months, obviously, since we've mainly been working from home. We pulled some usage data from about 5% of our customers to compare the average number of meetings to the average user engagement from 2019 versus 2020. As you can see, the average number of meetings went down 20%. But the average user engagement went up 27%. Obviously, we don't always like to see negative data, and we always like to see positive data. But with this information, you can see that people don't always have to meet as often to stay engaged, to stay connected to their employees or to their board members. So you can get more done when you meet with less meetings. With attendance, we all like to have 100% attendance or close to it. Is very important and a lot easier to accomplish with the different types of technology that we have today. You can access OnBoard with your phone or your tablet. All you have to do is download the app and use it right away. Vicki from Summit Bank stated that engagement has never been an issue for them, and that their attendees has actually increased with being home for the last 10 to 12 months. Mary from Colorado Community College stated when they actually had in-person meetings, they had one group topics together and that one presenter was presenting at a time. When they were done talking, and they had 1% at 1% until they were done talking. But now that they are actually remote, they actually mix it up to keep their audience engaged and to change it up. Reevaluating roles determines who should present and when they should present it. Step in for managers. Directors can take on the task interfacing with shareholders, governments, regulators, debt holders, and employees, and so on. We actually have a poll question. So Brian, if you don't mind, do you see your organization keeping meetings virtual, or going back to in-person meetings? So I don't know about you, Jillian, but are you ready to get back in the office?
Well, it all depends if my son goes back to school. And I think some people can relate with home e-learning. So right now I am dying to get back into the office, but maybe when that kind of goes over, I'll want more of that hybrid model. Look at you guys, a lot of people going a hybrid model. I've heard that constantly through groups that I've talked to. And I think a lot of people do miss that face-to-face. So
Yes.
With that, let's talk about leveraging the portal that you already have. And some of this is going to be a bit of a refresher, but maybe a new take and a new look on how we can stay connected with the portal that we have. And so Zoom, right? Don't forget that you always have the opportunity to host these meetings directly in the portal, right? It allows you to view the speaker while also viewing the book. And I know a lot of you have asked, but I can let you know that we are in discovery with Zoom to allow gallery view. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but we're really hoping that they allow it. That would be so exciting. And then announcements. So if you are a client of mine, you know that I love announcements. This is prime real estate to keep your board engaged. Stay out of email, right? Make a really beautiful landing page for your board, your leadership team, whomever is in the portal, to have everything they need to stay engaged. I'm a little bit of a crazy person. I love announcements. And then Messenger, right? Tracie mentioned this earlier. So you have push notifications, use the app, right? We can have all of this at our fingertips. Again, keeping everything really safe in the portal, and we can also really stay connected. And then meeting analytics. Nobody likes to walk into a meeting remotely or in person unprepared, right? Since we're remote, having a sense of what people are looking at and taking notes on is really more important than ever. So having that data is key. Again, back to that meeting facilitation. With that, I'm going to let Tracie take over a bit, and let's talk about tasks.
So tasks is another great way to stay connected and to assign tasks, no pun intended, to different board members and organization. You can see when they complete it. You can see when it's actually assigned to you. So it's a great way, like I said, to stay connected. We also recently released meeting brief notifications, which is a great feature that will help your attendees prepare for the upcoming meetings. So prior to the meeting, OnBoard will automatically send an email notification to the attendees, providing them an overview of the upcoming meetings. The notification will include information about the meeting, recent changes to any of the agendas, to the minutes that will be, which would actually let you be able to see it. And of course, if there's any action that needs to be taken on your end.
Right, that's so exciting. I mean, no longer do you have to have that send reminder on your to-do list. It's so good.
So OnBoard Actions is another great feature, another great way to help keep businesses running smoothly during the remote meetings or even between meetings. As you can see on this graph, the numbers for utilizing the Actions feature has gone up tremendously, actually, from 2020 to 2019. But also keep in mind the data we pulled, we did not use any customers that may have came on to OnBoard in March of 2020. So these are all existing customers that we pulled data from. So like I said, you can see how much it has gone up. Vicky from Summit Bank made a comment that since their board members are not meeting remote or not meeting in person, that they use actions, approvals, e-signatures all the time, and actually helps them stay connected.
So good.
So the resource library, which all of you guys know about, is another great way to communicate with your organization. You can create folders, you can keep historical documents from previous years before you came onto OnBoard and even after you came onto OnBoard, kept in one secure location and everyone knows where to go. You can create different folders for, bylaws, for conflicts of interest or anything like that. Just make sure when you create these folders, you give the right permissions to the right people to be able to see them. And also, some of you, if not all of you, might be excited to know that here's a little sneak peek of a feature that our development team is currently working on. It's called meeting ratings, which will allow meeting attendees to rate the meeting that just occurred and provide feedback to the meeting admins. The feedback's collected from the attendees, which will help meeting admins determine how they can improve the future meetings and ensure that they are keeping attendees engaged.
It's so good. I'm so excited about this because, again, who doesn't want to have data knowing how your meetings are going? So let's do one more poll question. Brian, you want to tee that one up? So would you be interested, now that you know about this little sneak peek that Tracie just told us about, in giving feedback on it? We're always looking for people to connect with, to give their feedback. Never any pressure.
Never pressure with us.
I love it. Thanks to those 11 people that said, yes, we're going to reach out. Thank you so much. Awesome. So last, let's just wrap it up. So we know that Zoom fatigue is real, right? We're all doing it. We're all on all the time. And so what we want to make sure that you took away from some of this in this little presentation today is a refresher of remote meetings and practices, right? What can you do to bring a little bit more energy to those meetings and to give some breaks and some flexibility? And then board dynamics, really talking about that positive change, seeing some of that feedback, that data was fantastic, and knowing how to put that into play. And then last, leveraging OnBoard to keep your teams and board connected while remote. You have really great tools with this portal. We really just want to help you use them to their best. So with that, we want to thank all of you for joining today, and we're going to open this up for questions if anyone put anything in Q&A. So team, Jenny, Amy, Brian, do we have anything to talk about?
Hey Jillian, hey Tracie, this is Jenny. I just wanted to mention a couple people have asked about other integration options similar to Zoom. So what I offered is, while we don't have that currently on our roadmap, definitely raise your hand by sending your kind of wish list items in, your feature requests to help@passageways.com. That's a great way to make your voice heard and to give us things that we may not even have been thinking about to enhance OnBoard. You can also reach out to your customer success manager or your implementation manager. And don't forget that you can use the setup remote meeting details view to put in that information, whether it's a Microsoft Teams, WebEx, GoToMeeting, Google Meet, any of those, or if you're not using the integration, but you do use Zoom. So otherwise, a lot of people are excited to get the recording, take a look at the slides, maybe have those available. And again, that'll be posted in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And some questions about how people know what features they have available. So maybe an opportunity, Jillian or Tracie, just to remind people about the plan details page and how they can connect with their growth manager.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. And again, I want to reiterate what Jenny said about, let us know what you would like to put on the roadmap. We had a great webinar a few months ago. it all kind of blends together now. But we had one recently about, with the product team really sharing some of that roadmap and how we decide what's going to be put into the product. And part of that is your feedback. So always give us that information. We really value it. And that's how we make the product better. So to what Jenny was saying, what do you have? When you log into the portal, right, and you go to that dashboard, you also have the option, right, those admins at the top that you can see your plan details from the plan view. It looks like Jenny has dropped in. Thank you so much. It's always good for a visual. If you can see that plan detail, it's one of the tabs at the top, and it will let you know what you have. It'll let you know what's available, what's included with those other plans and those suites. And it'll also let you know where you are sitting in terms of your license count. So it's a great page to reference every once in a while. Jenny, thanks so much for dropping that into chat. Do we have anything else?
It looks like one of our attendees, Nancy, would like to chat with you, Jillian, specifically. So maybe after this, since I don't know that we'll be able to keep this open, you can connect with Nancy directly.
Yeah, Nancy, I'd be happy to reach out with you and your CSM. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, we're going to go ahead and leave it here. So we are so excited. Thank you all for joining us. Tracie, thank you so much for being my co-host. I kind of put her on the spot. This is the very first one she's ever done, and you did amazing. We have the best team. So thanks everyone for joining. We will get these slides up. We will share them, and we'll send a recording of this out as well. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Stay warm.